I'm so happy you're all here. Today is our restful practice. So you're going to want to have your props nearby, blankets, blocks. And we're going to start today with just some gentle sound of harmonium. And what I'll suggest is actually you find yourself in a position that feels good for you. So if you'd like to lie down, depending on the kind of day you've had, depending on how you feel now, maybe you just want to lie down and relax, or maybe you'd like to sit up with spine erect and let yourself experience the beginning of your practice in the way that feels best. And if you'd like to join me in chanting Om, you can of course join me as well. So situating yourself. Wherever you are, noticing how you feel. Paying attention to your thoughts, generally how your body is being experienced. Noticing the emotions, how you're feeling. And being conscious of the fact that now you are gifting yourself space and time to rest, to relax, and therefore to come closer to your truer nature. So wherever you are, we're going to be shifting now and beginning our physical practice. Let's come into position on we'll start with hands and knees and just start to move around a little bit in the pelvis and the low back. So finding a table position, and then from here we'll shift into a conscious breath. Keeping the spine neutral. And maybe allowing a clearing breath out through the mouth, maybe a couple of those. Now while we're on hands and knees, let's actually inhale through the mouth. And exhale through the nose, sealing the mouth, releasing, taking a few of these, inhaling through the mouth, closing the mouth, exhaling through nose. Once again. And then inhaling through the nose, fogging out through the mouth, fogging in through the mouth, closing the mouth, exhaling through the nostrils. And finding a balance between the inhalation and the exhalation. Then we'll start to move and let the body also be balanced in its motion. So on the next inhalation, drop the belly gently, nice and slow. Let the head and the tailbone shift upwards. And as you exhale, release the head and tailbone down as you lift the back up and the belly up. Take a few of these. For the next 3 cats that you take with the belly lifted, tailbone head down, pull the belly up. Really bring it up and feel it activate. The bottom of that exhalation, emptying the lungs, drawing up. Feeling the abdominal muscles contract. So one more. And then finding a neutral spine, we're going to start to circle the hips now. So you might separate the knees a little bit. And then we'll begin to take the hips over towards the right, bring them down as if you're coming into child's posture, over to the left, and then come into center. And here you might sink the belly a little bit. And then on the exhale, maybe you start to find that cat motion, but in one side of the back in particular. So the side you're going towards, and then you start to shift over. So once you come to the other side, that starts to lift. And then finding center, you can take a deep breath in, relax the belly, again, exhaling into a cat, and then circling. And one big exhalation, inhaling cow, exhaling cat, circling. We'll take about 2 or 3 more in this direction. And then when you're ready, you'll start to shift into the other direction. So you'll come back into your table, you'll sink into a cow, and then exhaling, pulling the belly up, shifting maybe now into the left side, over towards the right, back to center, dropping the belly. Exhaling. Couple more this direction. And then we'll come into a neutral table. So whenever you get there, let's look to the wrists for a moment, just give them a chance to stretch. So we have them really contracted this way. We're going to shift the fingers to face back. So they're still going to be contracted, but we're going to get to stretch the forearms for a moment. So turn one hand, so fingers face back. Take a couple deep breaths here. Maybe send the hips back to get a deeper stretch. Keep that arm straight. Make sure you get a couple breaths in. We're all getting there maybe in a different time. And then you'll release the hand, take some circles, and then bring this hand down so that you have fingers facing back and the top of the hand on the mat. And from here, take about 2 deep breaths. Find the right intensity for the wrist. And release tension in the forearm and the wrist. Releasing the hand, taking a circle or two, maybe lifting this right arm up, continuing with some circular motion of the hand, feeling the arms now separate from each other. And then exhaling, right hand down. Then we'll switch, fingers back, palm down on the other hand. If you want to get off of the right wrist, you can come to the right fingertips if that feels better for you. And then we'll release this hand and maybe a circle or two. And then we'll be coming to top of the hand, fingers face back. And then we'll release this, taking some circles. Maybe right palm down, inhaling left arm up, separating the arms. Exhaling the left hand down. So we're going to come to the back. So let's cross the ankles and find a seat. And bring props close by. So whatever you're working with, just make sure they're on hand. And let's start off by coming down and bringing knees into the chest. Giving the knees a good squeeze with the hands. Rocking side to side. I really find it helpful to take my head in the opposite direction of the knees when I'm rocking. So see if that works for you. And then let's take a couple more breaths. Finding the knees to center and just holding on to the knees, pulling them in, drawing the shoulders back. Just letting the head be heavy on the mat as you pull the knees in. And as you're here, relax the face. Relax the space between the eyebrows. Let that area soften and open. Let the temples soften and open. Let the bridge of the nose relax, the nostrils relax. Left nostril, right nostril. Soften the eyes, the eyelids. Relax the cheeks. Relax the upper lip and the lower lip. Relax the jaw and the chin. And let any tensions that have built up in the face in terms of facial expressions, let all of those just soften and relax. All that tension be released in the face. And now let the corners of the eyes position themselves so as if they're smiling. Maybe a soft smile with the lips. Let's give ourselves a great big hug. And again, say thank you for making the space and time to practice, to rest, to relax. So let's bring the head up and really wrap the arms around the legs as we give ourselves this hug and gratitude. And lower the head down. We'll take the feet towards the sky, so we'll come into Happy Baby, Ananda Balasana, maybe grasping big toes with peace fingers or holding feet, outer edges, inner edges with hands, knees bending, maybe some straightening and bending, some exploration, present in the body and all the sensations that are occurring, watching them change. It's the watching of those changing sensations that we learn that it is incorrect to actually identify with this body. And instead, we learn that the body is always changing, becomes a tool for that understanding that there are parts of us, or a part of us, that isn't changing. That's our awareness, watching all of the changes through the unchanging awareness. So maybe finding now another position and kind of exploring that. And we'll have 5 more deep breaths. Okay, we're going to release the feet, so we can bring them together first, maybe bend the knees and lower the feet towards the mat. Let's find a bridge posture supported. So let's find a block or a nice firm blanket and bring it right underneath the sacrum. And we'll just start with one block. So if you're only working with one, you have different levels that you can work with. If you're working with 2, a little bit more variety there, a little bit more height. So with the block underneath, let's first just breathe here in this gentle back bend that doesn't take much effort at all. But we're going to help the hip flexors release. So while we're here, let's bring one knee, we'll just start with the right leg, bring the right knee in and hug that knee. Now we're going to just take this knee slightly over to the right. You can release the left hand from it, just take slightly over to the right, maybe all the way as far as you can, and then bring it back towards somewhere in between. Somewhere between that point where the thigh is parallel and in line with the rest of the trunk, or off to the right. Right in between there, and we'll hold that for about 3 breaths. And then we'll bring the knee to center, and here we'll take 3 deep breaths, still holding it in. So very slowly we'll be releasing this right leg. So begin still supporting it with the right hand. Begin to gently move it. Maybe even the left hand can give it a gentle push. At some point you might have to hold this right thigh and kind of walk the hands up the thigh to gently let this foot go down without much effort in the hip flexor. Now before you straighten this leg, just notice you have both feet planted. Notice if you can sense a difference between left and right hip flexor. Now slowly start to heel toe this right foot so that you can come to extension in the right leg. And then you're going to release into that. And maybe you'll start to just kind of shake the right leg out a little bit. And then we're going to let go into this. So the left leg can just stay bent as it is. Take the arms behind. Find length here with this right leg, with the arms. Let the right leg relax a little bit more. 3 deep breaths. This is a nice little sequence to help us neutralize all the sitting that we might have done today. Maybe a good clearing breath. And we're going to work on the other side. So let's go ahead and start to plant the right foot down. See if you can sense subtle difference between left hip flexor, right hip flexor muscle that connects the thigh and the abdomen. And then we'll start to lift this left knee and hold the left knee with the hands, pulling it in. And we can start to explore here, maybe taking knee over to the left, bringing it back to center. Exploring that range of motion from center to the side. We're going to find a point in between those two points, and we're right in the middle, and then just pull the leg in. Two more deep breaths. Bring the knee to center. Here we have a good 3 breaths, drawing the knee in still. Still maintaining that peaceful expression on the face. And so now we're going to start to release out of this, but with care. So we'll start to use this, use the hands to help lower the leg little by little. Maybe walk the hands up the thigh till you find the foot plant. And then from here, very slowly start to extend this left leg, maybe scooching the toes till you find a straight left leg. And there you can shake out the leg a little bit. Eventually letting this left leg go and then allowing all the tension to release from that hip crease. We'll take a couple more deep breaths. Maybe the arms behind again. And we'll slowly start to bring this left foot to meet the right. Legs are bent. We're gonna find the next level in our back bend. So we're here for a little bit, but that's okay. It's gonna help our low backs open up. So you might find with your single block that you can come to the second level, or you might find that 2 blocks, one on top of the other, is going to serve you better. If you find a third level with a single block, just be careful because it's not going to be as stable. But now we will find our highest position that we'd like to go in a supported bridge posture. And in that position, we're going to let ourselves let go. So you're going to prop the hips up and then let the glutes relax. So normally we need to be with the glutes strong in this position, very active, because they help fuel the hips upward. But if you can now just sink the hips, relax the glutes, not even putting any effort in the thighs. You know, normally the inner thighs are working and we're trying to bring those knees in, kind of drawing towards each other but not touching. Here, just relax the knees too. Relax the lower legs, relax the ankles. Now, if you have stability
you can play around with some extension in the legs. I don't recommend it for the highest position with a single block. Feels a little unstable. So you could give it a try and just see if that works, but just be careful. And then play around here. So maybe you extend both legs or one, or maybe you lift a leg. And we're going to be here for, let's say, at least 30 seconds. So about 5 slow, deep breaths. So that's about 30 seconds. So if you need to even out whatever you've been working on, feel free to do that before we come out. If you're in one position, you've got a little bit more time to just hang out. We'll make it a total of 1 minute. It's about 3 more breaths. And then when you're ready, start to lower to maybe the second level or the first level so that you still have some elevation. Before we lower down, once we're in that lower height, we're going to bring a knee into the chest, give it a big squeeze. Release this leg, draw the other leg in. And 2 more breaths. We'll let this leg go. We're going to remove the block. So when you're ready, lift the hips, removing, and we're going to actually come right to seated to come into a forward fold. So before you get there, pay attention to how the low back feels. Hopefully it feels a little bit more alive than before. Right, a little lighter. And when you're ready, start to find your way up. And we're going to extend the legs forward and have the knees either bent or straight. It doesn't matter as long as we have the feet flexed for now. Let's start by having the hands on the mat next to the hips, taking the shoulders in circles a few times. So this is staff posture, Dandasana. And then we'll sit here for a moment, keeping the shoulders back and down, keeping the chin tucked in. Actually, this is a great spot to work with the neck for a moment. So we're going to take the chin forward and then draw it in. So we'll be taking chin tucks. It doesn't have to be coordinated with the breath as long as you're consciously breathing. Training the chin to go in a little bit rather than what our environment has created, longer neck set jut forward. When we can get the neck to stack on top of the rest of the spine, we get a lot of pressure off of the spine. And then we'll keep the chin in slightly, somewhere in between those two endpoints. And let's reach the arms upwards, finding length, letting the head come back, looking upwards with a soft gaze. And we'll begin to take the arms forward with the trunk and then start to lower hands, lower head, and we'll be in a position that feels right to you. So if you'd like a longer spine, you can be there. If you're happy with a rounded spine, you can be there. If you'd like to change that at any point, change it. Let's start with 1 minute and then we'll go from there. So just focusing on deep breaths, maybe creating support for the forehead. You can take block to the legs. Letting the shoulders round. We were in a nice heart opener with that back bend. So now just taking the opposite position, the opening of the upper back. So that's our minute. Let's start to rise for a moment. We're going to return to this. Let's rise and then bring the hands back down. And now let's check in with the feet. So we're going to start to move and point and flex the feet. Really put some effort into that pointing. It's uncomfortable. Our feet rarely do this unless we put the effort there. And then let's let the toes face up, but then begin to move the legs left, right. So they're synchronized, both moving in the same direction. And the hands can go back a little bit if that's more comfortable with fingers face back. It's a little bit more relaxing that way. Then we're going to start to move the legs in opposite directions. So take the toes, the whole leg out and then in towards each other. If you want, you can separate the feet a bit. Kind of loosening up through the joints. Okay, then we'll let with the feet apart, start to circle the feet. You can go in the same direction or in opposite directions. And we'll go the other way, rotating. And let's bring the feet closer together again. Okay, hands next to the hips, fingers face forward. Next inhalation, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Hands can go to the legs, to the feet, or to the mat. They can go to blocks. Bring forearms to blocks. Or block to forehead. But we'll go ahead and relax into this again. So you might flex the feet, you might bend the knees. You can let the head go. Feel the head pull on the rest of the spine. Another minute right here, starting now. About 3 more deep breaths. And we'll start to rise back up. We're going to come back to this again in a moment, but let's find a twist first. So today we'll take Marichyasana letter D. We're going to bring the left foot underneath the right thigh or close to the right hip, and then we'll plant the right foot.
So both of the legs are bent. And we'll hold on to the right legs to stabilize with the left hand. Take the fingers behind, or the hand behind, fingers face back. And then inhale, lift the left arm up, looking upwards. Exhale, left elbow outside the right knee. Get nice and tall. Pull the belly in first, make space, and then begin to turn to the right. So if it feels better to you, you can also hug this right knee in with the left arm. And then that foot would get a little closer to the other. So see what works best for you. Now, as we're here, so we're holding this twist a little longer, we're going to move the head side to side. And then keep turning the head to the right. Keep this right arm as straight as you can so it really props the spine up. Be careful not to lean back into that hand. Keep the hand close to the bottom. About 3 more breaths. Every exhalation, you're sensing that you have a little bit more space to move into. The body and the heart just kind of open to the right a little bit. The right shoulder moving slightly. And we'll inhale, come to center. Let's take a counter twist before we go into the other side more deeply. So we can have right hand to right ankle, left hand behind, get tall, and then turn to the left. And inhale, come back to center. So we'll switch legs. Left foot plants, right foot underneath left thigh, close to the bottom. Okay, we'll start by holding right hand to left leg to situate left hand behind, fingers face back. Again, the hand is nice and close and as straight as possible. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, right elbow outside the left knee or thigh. Get tall, pull the low belly in, and then begin to turn to the left as you're pushing this right arm into the leg. Turning the head to the left. Turn the head side to side a few times. And then we'll keep turning the head to the left. A few deep breaths. And we'll come to center to take a counter twist to the right. So right hand behind, left hand to left ankle. Get tall and turn. Back over to the right. And we'll come to center. So let's take the legs out again and revisit our seated forward fold. Paschimottanasana, any variation that you're taking. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's different. So once you have the legs extended out in front of you, we'll inhale, reach the arms upwards, look up. Exhale, begin to hinge forward. And then again, we can let go in any way that feels right. So maybe now you're able to straighten the legs a little bit more. Maybe you can hold a different area. Maybe you see that the trunk is lower.
Let's start our minute right now at this point. Couple more deep breaths. And we'll start to rise upwards. Let's come back to lying on the back for a moment and find length in the body, stretching the arms behind, pointing the toes forward, lifting the belly button upwards. Okay, at this time we're going to lift the right leg towards the sky and then hold the right leg with the hands. So if it's comfortable for you to keep the left leg straight on the mat, keep it there. If that's not comfortable, you'll plant the left foot. Now we'll take a little bit more of circular motion with the right foot, going one way and then the other. And then we're going to flex the foot. And we'll just do a little bit of a resistance exercise here. So let's push the leg into the hands and the hands back into the leg. You're holding the thigh. And then relax the leg and maybe pull the leg in a little closer. And again, pushing in and relaxing. Pushing in, relaxing. One more time. So we've got 4 times, we've got some resistance. Then just begin to let this leg come closer and closer. So maybe you have the hands walk up towards the foot, maybe just staying right at the calf or staying at the thigh. Keep the foot flexed. Take 3 more deep breaths. Maybe lift the head. And lowering the head. Plant the left foot. Bring the right ankle to the left thigh. Lift the left leg and find a reclining pigeon, holding the left leg maybe behind the thigh, maybe to the shin. Let's also create a little resistance here too. So let's at this time push the legs into each other on the inhale, and on the exhale relax the legs as you pull them in closer with the arms. Inhale, pushing them into each other, keeping the right foot flexed. Exhale, relaxing them, drawing them in. One more time, pushing in and then relaxing. And so we'll continue to draw the legs in by holding the left leg for a whole minute, breathing deeply, letting that sensation of peace wash over your entire body and mind. Really soaking up these restful positions. One more breath here. And then we'll relax, letting that left leg go. But before we go further, let's actually cross the right knee over the left. So directly over each other. And then we're going to come into reclining cow face posture. So lift the legs back up and then hold the leg that's furthest away. Hold that knee, pull it in as best as you can. So you might have to go to the thigh and just see where do you need to situate the hands so that you can draw these legs in, and you'll feel the sensation having shifted from one part of the glute to the other. Notice that. Another breath or so. We're going to keep the knees crossed. Bring the left foot to the mat. Take the arms out to a T. Let's fold the knees over to the right. So again, keeping these one on top of the other. So your left foot is still touching the mat partially. The head turned to the left. Let the weight of the right leg draw down onto the left. Feel the left waist lengthening. And then we'll bring this left foot to the mat, keeping the knees crossed. Drop the knees to the left. Turn the head to the right. Relax into this twist. And we'll come to center. This time we'll let this right leg go and lengthen it on the mat, and then pick up the left leg straight up towards the sky. Hold the left leg. And again, if that right foot feels better planted, then you can go there. Now we'll work with this ankle again. Some circles. Okay, once you have the foot flexed, we'll start with 4 times resisting on the inhalation. So starting now, and relaxing the left leg, maybe pulling it in. Inhaling, pressing hands and leg into each other. Exhale, relaxing. Inhaling. Exhaling. So one more. And then seeing if you can take the hands a little further up the leg, even if you got to lift the head. Take 3 deep breaths. And lower the head down. Plant the right foot, bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Flex the left foot, lifting right leg, and then holding this leg with the hands. Finding that right position to get the right intensity for wherever your body's at now. Again, the left foot is flexed, and then we're going to 3 times for this position create some resistance. So pushing legs into each other on the inhalation, and on the exhalation, relaxing that. Again, this is a nice technique, these resistance activities, nice technique for removing stuck tension that's just sitting there looming, keeping life energy from flowing through. So once you've taken those 3, you're going to find deep breaths as we lie here for 1 minute in this position.
One more breath. And then we'll start to set the right foot down. Bring the left knee directly on top of the right knee. Reclining cow face posture. Lift the legs again. Hold the furthest leg. And slowly bring this right foot back down to the mat. Bring the arms to a T, keeping knees crossed. Lower the knees over to the left, turning the head to the right. Okay, we'll start to bring this right foot to the mat and then bring the knees to the right. Keeping knees crossed, turn the head to the left. And we'll bring the knees back to center. Release the left leg on top of the right. We're going to come to seated for a moment. So find your way up. Sit with the ankles crossed. Actually, get the legs extended. So we're going to come here one more time into that forward fold. See how things have changed. So once your legs are extended forward, take the arms, reach them up, and then exhale, fold forward. See if you can be here with a little bit more ease than before. Maybe the trunk is lower, maybe the legs don't feel as tight behind, and the legs can straighten up a little bit. You might let the head go, or you might find a little length this time. Just keeping the head slightly lifted, so you might be looking past the knees or slightly forward past the toes. Take 3 more breaths. And let's inhale, rise up. So now let's cross the ankles. And sitting tall, we'll focus a little bit on the neck and also maybe a little bit with the shoulders. So let's take the arms to a T and then cross one arm in front of the other, hook the other arm right in front and pull this arm in. One more breath. Release this arm, cross the other right in front and hug. Maybe elbow to elbow. Dissolving tension in the back of the shoulders. Releasing, taking one arm up, bending, fingers to elbow, and then taking a chin tuck here to help the stretch. We'll just take another deep breath here, maybe a clearing breath. Switching arms. And releasing the arms, shoulders back and down. Turn the head side to side a few times. Bring the head to center, up and down a few times. Bring the head to center. Lift one ear skyward for 3 breaths. Head to center, the other ear upwards. And the head comes to center. Okay, shake that head out. And at this time, we're ready to rest. So find your way to a comfortable position on the back, or if you'd like to rest on your side today, if you'd like to cover up with a blanket, find yourself in a position where you can totally let go of everything in every way possible. Take an exhalation out through the mouth. Resting in every way possible. Now, before you move anything, before you change the breath, just notice how it feels to be rested in some way, even though you were active. You're moving in the body, the mind was focused and concentrating. And maybe in that way you can sense some lightness in the body, lightness in the mind and the heart, sense of being free in some way. And you might choose in that sense of freedom to stay in this position and rest a little longer. Let your Shavasana extend a little bit. Or you might choose to start moving the body and breathing a little bit more deeply again, coming back. So if you're going to be rising, then making your way there little by little, maybe starting to move around in the hands and the feet. Maybe bringing knees into chest. And finding your way to seated. If you're coming to seated, again, if you feel really a desire to rest a little longer, honor that, stay there.
And we'll seal the practice with the sound of Om, letting it fill your entire being, whether you're hearing it or also chanting with me. Breathing in. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.